What is going on, guys? This is the Fabia Pass podcast. It's me, Suddy, and this is Sham. Today, we're previewing the Europa League final between Villarreal and Man United, which is taking place in Gdańsk, Sham, in Poland. I think it's the north of. I don't think I know it's the north of Poland because I've been there, and it's quite a nice city. I'm not going to lie. And so obviously, it was moved to Gdańsk because of COVID, and it makes for a very, very juicy tie, Sham. You could say two sides that have done very well in the past in the Champions League, meeting here in the Europa League. They've played 4 times before in recent history. Last one dating back to the latest one dating back to 2008 when it was a 0-0 draw. Villarreal is a very sticky side, I think, and they have a specialist of the Europa League in Unai Emery, who's at the helm. So, what do you think? What do you think Unai Emery brings to the team? I mean, they've done very well, and they've done very well in the La Liga as well. I think they finished 6th, sorry, 8th, if I'm not wrong.
7th, yeah.
7th in La Liga. He's generally done very well. What do you think United have to do, or what do you think Unai Emery brings to this team on a day of a final that I guess no other manager has to a Europa League final team?
Yeah, people talk about mentality and stuff, but he kind of was found a bit wanting at Arsenal. Maybe he didn't have the pieces, but seems to have more autonomy at Villarreal. He's got the best side of the team. They're a difficult team to beat. They've only lost 10 games, but they have 15 wins and 13 draws, which to me indicates it's an issue sort of breaking teams down to win. So I think that this game, particularly being a final, is going to be quite even for long patches. It'll be about moments of quality or individual errors. Emery knows how to win big games. I have a feeling he's got a surprise or two up his sleeve just in terms of setting up slightly differently. He'll play the old sort of Villarreal play kind of it's what I would call a Brazilian 4-4-2, where the wide midfielders tuck in and become attacking midfielders, and the fullbacks just bomb on. So it's kind of like a 2-4-2-2, and the midfield 4 is set up as a square. It's kind of that sort of formation, although they do play like a second striker that drops off a bit and sort of hunt in that space. So that space where presumably Fred and McTominay play, they're going to have the 2 wide players coming at it, and then a 4 dropping off into that. So how they control that space is going to be quite important in this game.
Yeah, well, speaking of Fred and McTominay, I think, in my opinion, this could be very much a last chance for Fred more than McTominay to kind of show that big games are for me and I'm here to stay. Roy Keane said about a month ago when we lost, I say we because obviously we're both United fans, when we lost 4-2 to Liverpool, that United will never win trophies with, or never win the title specifically, not trophies, with Fred and McTominay in midfield. What do you think about that?
I think he's right. I think that Fred's a really good tackler, and McTominay is a really good interceptor, and they complement each other. It's kind of like the two of them form that, when their powers combine, they form McFred type of thing. Yeah. But the reality is, United want to play City's 4-3-3, and they can't because they don't have that 6. So they're 2-8s hedged into a 6, and
they don't have that kind of Fernandinho, that really intelligent 6 is what you're talking about.
Yeah, there's 2 types of deep lying. There's 2 types of 6s. You got Pirlo or Xabi Alonso or Michael Carrick that sort of sit deep, knock the passes around, keep the team in a groove type game. And then you've got the other type, which is the Fernandinho, Fabinho, Busquets type that commits the professional fouls, bit nasty in the tackle, bit of an antagonistic type play, but in a good way, in the way that your teammates know that you're there to play, And those players always have a lot of respect from their teammates. The deep lying guy sort of plays it like Pirlo played better with Gattuso, So McTominay's the type of player I think that could suit playing alongside a deep 6 and have McTominay sort of play more as an 8. Fred, I don't really think he's got that in him. He isn't really. Last season, he seemed to get in a really good patch of form before the COVID break, and then he didn't really play after that. And he's not really been the same. He's the one where if they go get a 6, he's the one who's on the chopping block. I don't think that if they get a better player in, there's no spot for him. Particularly given McTominay's seen as a youth player, so if it came down to the 2, you'd go with McTominay. But I think that McTominay's ahead anyway. I don't think it comes down to the 2.
Yeah. Do you think? So I was just looking here, Villarreal's fixtures to get here. They beat Arsenal over the 2 legs. I think it was a draw over the 2 legs. Give me a second.
I think it was away goals or something.
There's away goals. Yeah, that's what I mean. like they've done very well to get here. Um, do you think? Do you fancy them for the final at all? Because I think most people have written them off. I think. Well, I don't think the general kind of consensus is that United will win this comfortably. I'm not asking for a prediction, but how do you think Villarreal have a chance in this?
Oh, of
Just for the
course.
way
I
United,
think
yeah,
that I think Emery he's going to pull a surprise and do something a little different. I think that
yeah,
being a final, there's always an element of nerves. I think that Villarreal are a hard team to beat, and I also think that one thing United have not been punished for in Europa is starting
hmm,
games slowly. They've had a
yeah,
lot of games where they played really badly in the first 10, 20, or 30 minutes, got away with it, and just went and thumped the opposition. If
hmm,
Villarreal can get the first goal, they have a very, very good chance of winning this game. The first goal will
hmm,
be very important because if United get it, Villarreal will have to come at them, and United will just pick them apart in the counter.
yeah,
If Villarreal have something, and I expect United to get the first goal, but I think that
hmm,
if Villarreal can take advantage of a nervous defender or Fred back passing it to the keeper like he did against Leicester or something like that, and pounce on an error, United aren't particularly good playing out from the back,
hmm,
and turn that into a moment of brilliance or a goal or whatever it is, then
hmm,
I think that it's all there to play for. And I think the Emery effect, he hasn't really got credit for winning the Europa. He's only 4 times in 5 finals. I
yeah,
mean, that
yeah,
he hasn't really got credit for that. And beating Arsenal would have been a massive thing for him. The club, pushed him out in his backside, and he's just taken them. And if Arsenal were in this game, they'd have a shot at Champions League qualification if they won. Um,
hmm,
but they're not playing European football next year, and it's because of, of Emery, ironically.
yeah.
But
Ironically, yeah.
I do think the first goal in this game is very important. I'll be honest. I expect United to win. They have been very good in Europa in terms of getting goals when they're on top,
Hmm,
but they have looked fragile in certain moments and have
hmm.
had to really be bailed out. And the whole Maguire not being there adds another element of uncertainty.
That's what I was going to say next, right? So I was thinking about the who do we play before Roma? It's just not coming to me now.
The Spanish team Granada.
Granada. Okay, yeah. So when I think about Roma, you can think of the two legs in terms of like four quarters. The way you can think of two legs, right? First half, second half. And I don't. I think United played well in the first leg of the first half of the first leg, and Roma was in it for most of the last. Roma was the better team over the last the next three quarters. United haven't played well in Europe this season, particularly well at all. We've had spikes of performances
Yeah.
against Red Bull Leipzig. It's mad to even think we beat Red Bull Leipzig 5-0
And all those goals
at
were
the
in the
start of the
20-minute
season.
spell, basically, or 25
Exactly.
minute
It
spell.
was see, yeah, and I've always and I said this very early on. It's United. The one thing United have over many teams is they seem to be much fitter at the end of every game, which is something they struggled with for years and years. And Ollie, you know, Moy tried to bring it in years ago. It never really quite worked, and Ollie somehow brought it in. Plays afresh towards the end.
Ollie knows a thing
Marcus,
or two about being fit at the end of the game, doesn't he? So
absolutely
yeah.
concentration, fitness. I mean that's what stamina is in football, right? It's all about how can you convert stamina to maintain stamina
People
and maintain
forget that
concentration.
we talk about fitness. When your physical fitness deteriorates, your mental fitness can deteriorate as well. People forget
Absolutely, yeah,
that, and
yeah,
that's quite often like when you see big games. People often have a go at a referee for making a bad decision in the 91st minute. Referee's tired as well. Referee's been
yeah,
running around the field the whole game yelling at people.
yeah,
You For a referee, that mental peak can come down under physical pressure. So that's
yeah.
why you often see things like that happen at the end of games. Without looking at the referee, United have also got the rest. So Villarreal had a pretty bruising La Liga game. Their last game was supposed to be Sunday. The
Mm,
Spanish Football Federation moved it to the Saturday, but they were
mm,
playing Real Madrid, who were trying to win to overtake Atletico for the title. Real Madrid won that game, and Real Madrid fought pretty hard. I think they were goal down and ended up winning
yeah, they
that
were
game.
2-1.
So that's the old Real Madrid overwhelming teams with strength and poise and power. Villarreal will be a
Mm,
bit bruised from that.
mm.
They did play most of their first team, whereas United didn't play. The closest they
I was
played to a
just
first team player was Henderson, who's probably not playing.
yeah, I was
Or
just
one
gonna
of the
get to that.
centre backs. I think either Twanzebe or Bailly will play with Lindelof. I'm not sure who will
Yeah,
be, but the rest of the team was basically
I
at best
think
the bench.
the fact that Tuanzebe, in the first time in a long time, has played the two games in a row shows that he is going to play. I just wanted to get to that now. It was actually the biggest. I've been a massive Maguire kind of proponent. Even when he was bought, I thought 80 million is the English premium we're going to buy for him. but I've always thought he's definitely more in the style of a Pallister or Steve Bruce. But he's a very, very important, if not one of the most important players for United, next to Bruno. And it's come to show, man, how much they value him. And I hope to God he's playing, but him not being there is a huge, huge loss.
Oh, we probably could have checked. Solskjaer said he had to train today to play. I don't know. I've been looking it up, but I haven't got any news on whether he actually did train.
Let's have a look here.
It might be a Diego Costa. Diego Costa in the 2014 Champions League final started for Atletico, but he was clearly hampered, and they took him off after 12 minutes. So
yeah, so 8 hours ago he was ruled out of the final. So I think it's, but that was from last. I guess his news from last night. So he has to train today. Is that right, Sean?
Ollie had said if he has to train at least once to play the game, he's not gonna rush him back in without the training.
I wonder if they'll train today to do a final fitness test. But in my head,
definitely he'd have a fitness test.
Yeah,
and you feel with Harry Maguire, like if they tell him he's not playing, they're gonna have to strap him to a chair or something. Like he's gonna, he won't do a John Terry, but he'll be there in his kit anyway. If he's told he's not playing,
I don't think he'll do that. But my point being, it's going to be Villarreal will know, or at least Unai Emery will know how to exploit that. So the question I want to ask you: do you think Dean or De Gea will start?
I feel like it's De Gea. I actually would rather Henderson started. I think he's the better keeper. I do think though Henderson won I feel like during the season Henderson became the number one for the league, and De Gea became the Euro keeper. And I think that's why De Gea will play. And the fact that Henderson played on the weekend kind of confirms that for me. The thing about the two of them, there's not a lot of difference between them, but Henderson is quite a high risk keeper. He's not too different to Alisson from Liverpool, who's quite comfortable rushing off his line, clearing the ball, a bit like Neuer from Bayern as well. Whereas De Gea is very low risk, sticks to his line, does that sort of thing. So I actually think Henderson should play because I do think the defense needs a bit of leadership, and De Gea is not a verbal keeper, but I do think De Gea will play. And he earned it through his performance against Roma. He actually played quite well. It's a shame, but we were all a bit surprised that he played well because his standards seem to have fallen. But I do think it's De Gea that will get that game, and also him playing against the last home game. I think it was the Fulham game. That seemed to me to be a bit of a send off as well. So I do think that if they can sell De Gea, they will sell him during the summer. It depends on whether you can find a buyer.
And I think so he's been here since 2012, 10 years, 9 to 10 years of what you'd say he's a United legend. Most players win. He's won 2 league titles. No, he's won the one. Just won the one. A couple of trophies. I think he'll leave, and I think he plays today. I think it will show a complete lack of respect if he doesn't play.
Yeah.
Because there's not much between the two. Because Villarreal is not much of a set play team. They're definitely more like counter-attacking possession, ball on the floor. They don't need to be thinking about the set plays.
De Gea is pretty good with one-on-ones as well. He's just quite big and he's got incredible feet. It suits the team that plays one-on-one. And I think creates one-on-ones against the keeper.
I think there may be something to be said. Now this is me guessing, but there's something to be said about playing against a Spanish team that De Gea will see things or hear things. Perhaps I know I'm being a bit kind of in the nitty-gritty here, but it could.
When the whole Suarez Evra thing. So Suarez called Evra the N-word in Spanish.
Negrito, yeah.
So but what happened was Ferguson was like, "Are you sure he said it?" And De Gea came up and said, "Yeah, well, he said it. He said it in Spanish."
Oh, right.
So that's why the club chose to push it, because
is that right?
Evra heard something, he didn't like it, and he was quite angry. But Ferguson said, "Are you sure that he said it?" And David De Gea went, "Yeah, I heard it. He said it, but in Spanish."
Oh shit! Okay, yeah.
So, like you said, there's something to be said for Spanish.
Fair enough,
being able to speak Spanish against the Spanish team.
Speaking of Suarez, he's currently football's hero of the week after winning the Liga. Fair play to him.
What's that? Sorry.
I say, speaking of Suarez, he's currently football's flavor of the week. His whole story about being,
it was amazing for me to see that. I know this sounds silly, but amazing to see that as a human being, because some of the stuff he's done in terms of biting people, in terms of, what was the other thing he got massive suspension for? Although the racist,
he got two bites in a racist.
One thing that he did that I was very upset, it was in the 2010 World Cup. Do you remember that against Ghana?
The Chiellini. Oh, the handball. Yeah.
Yeah. So in the last minute of extra time, Ghana's shot was going to go in, and he stopped it deliberately with his hand because if it went in, they're out. He gave his team a chance. Somehow Ghana missed the penalty, and then they lost in the shootout. So it was very cynical. It was very like from a doing the best for my team, bit narcissistic type point of view. Wonderful thing. We got Uruguay to a semi, but it's a bit dehumanizing, you know. And I've seeing Suarez cry was like, oh, he's a human being. And I know that's a silly thing to say, but it was the most human I've seen him. And to think that someone who plays the way that he does has that side, that was amazing. And Barker basically said, off you go, son. And he's just gone, I'll take that league title when I go as well, you know? So well done.
But funnily enough, they did the same thing to David Villa. And then he went on to win the title at Atletico the next year.
Oh, yeah.
All right, let's get back to
maybe Messi will go to Atletico next year and they'll win the title again.
Now let's get down to a bit of business. So what do you think, how do you see the game going? I'll give my bit of opinion as well, and give me a score.
I think that I think it's going to be a chess match for the first 30 minutes. I do think Emery's going to try and get that early goal by with a high press on the defense, particularly with Lindelof being the senior defender. It won't matter so much against Villarreal with the physicality that he lacks because they don't have that physical player. But his nervousness, and like you said, I think Tuanzebe will play. You and I are big fans of Tuanzebe. I think he's future club captain material, but he's just not kicked on. But if he can somehow, I'm thinking PSG, Kylian Mbappe, if he can pull that performance out to finish the season, everyone's going to start thinking, you know, this guy has the future at this club. So I think it's a big game for him. I do think that United will play like crap for half an hour and then score a goal and control the game from then on. That's how I see it turning. I'm looking for big moments from Cavani, Bruno Fernandes. I'm thinking 2-0 to United. Goal late first half, goal late second half type of thing.
A very kind of classic final, controlled final performance. See, that's the problem with United is that there's too many. You know, in maths, I don't know if you did high level maths. I didn't know, but I know of this kind of thing in maths where if this then this, if this then this. That's like kind of these like conditions. Yeah. There's just too many conditions for United. If they score first, they're hard to which they are very hard to concede against, to score against. But if they concede first, they'll end up scoring more goals. There's just too many conditions for United. I do agree with your analysis. I think it's going to be a 3-0 final. I think they're going to score. I just think as a fan watching on and thinking there's just too many conditions and I don't like it. I think this is where United can win a trophy, elevate to Man City or Liverpool status where what's going to happen in this game? They're going to play the way they've been playing for the last 25 games and they're going to win 3-0. You know what I'm trying to say? I just hope this is the game that kickstart this group of players who can play on for about 4 years. This young group of players besides Cavani can be, you know, and obviously this can be the start of something big for Rashford, for Fernandes, kicking on to win a Ballon d'Or, one Ballon d'Or amongst a few of them. You know, like that's the level Bruno can play at. And if they don't win a trophy now, those players are going to start thinking, you know, if Harry Kane can leave Spurs, Bruno can leave United. You know, it'll be a sad day. So anyway, coming back to my prediction, I think United will win 3-0. There'll be scares from Villarreal. Unnecessary scares, but there'll be scares, and the trophy will be lifted. Hopefully, 10 o'clock today.
Thinking, because United, I did say I do think if Villarreal score first, they're a massive chance to win it. Now, United have actually showed a lot of bottle coming back from losing positions. Do you think that given a final, it's just a bit too much to expect that, or do you think that the team will have that bottle to come back and push on and win if they go 1-0 down?
Well, Villarreal showed Arsenal actually played quite well in that second leg. They should have. They had many more shots, very attacking, just couldn't convert. In fact, what's his name? Kieran Tierney played very well actually that game.
He's a good player.
Do they have the bottle to come back? Something tells me they don't. Not in a final like this.
They haven't really come back in a big game, have they?
Yeah.
With all due respect to West Ham's probably the biggest team that they came back from behind and beat.
They had the game against. See, the big game they really should have come back this season was the one against Red Bull Leipzig. The second time they played them in the cup stage, and then there was Leicester, and then there'll be this game now. Yeah, look, it's I just don't feel they can. But it's just, again, this is me purely being a cynical United fan, because of the last few years.
Well, they haven't done it against the top team. I guess is my point. Like I said, the West Ham game in December, I think Mason got the goal, and then Pogba got that beautiful curved strike in the corner. Well, next right, it had a 0.02 chance of scoring, like a 1 in 50 chance. Like he did that well. But they haven't done it in a big game. So that ability to come back, I think, would require something that they haven't shown yet. Not that they can't show it, they just haven't shown it yet.
Yeah. And the mentality shift is it can happen at the end. Like the mentality shift for Liverpool came after the Madrid loss. They just became the best team in the world the next day. That's the way I like to think about it. It's a very romantic way to think about things.
Who's that? Sorry, say that again.
The day Liverpool lost to Madrid, the day Salah got his arm broken.
Oh, Karius had the couple of mistakes. Bale had the goal.
Yeah, they became the best team in the world the next day. They just decided we're going to be the best team in the world, and like we said, next season they'll be performing again. But they just became the best team in the world the next day. Bought the right players, the club, everything just kind of clicked into gear. And I keep saying this can be a huge moment for United. It's you can laugh at the Europa League. Whoever wins it next year, I'll have a bit of a laugh. But trophy's a trophy, man. Rashford's won it before.
It's United versus Leicester next year in the final. English football at the moment's in the ascendancy in Europe. I think it's the money in the game. You're seeing a lot of English teams get very far. I think this is the second year, and if Arsenal got through, I think it's the third year in the last 5 that it's an all-English final in both European competitions. So they're getting quite far in competitions.
Yeah. But anyway, so we both think big wins for United. Hopefully it comes through. Any closing thoughts, Sham? I know we've not talked too much about Villarreal. Unfortunately, not really our specialty, but we'll have to talk a bit more after the game on what Villarreal did.
They've not got a lot of named players. The main one probably is Pau Torres, who keeps getting linked to United. He'll be an interesting one to watch. I don't think he's the player that United need, but he seems to be linked a lot. I think that if Tuanzebe has a great game, I think that's going to be him standing up, because if Tuanzebe can play to his potential with Maguire and Henderson, I think that's a very strong core that you can build. I think if Tuanzebe plays to his potential, I actually think that's a title-winning back sort of diamond 3 that you could play particularly with Shaw and Wan-Bissaka, and that's an all-English 5. That's quite rare in the modern day.
Actually, before we finish off, can I get a player to watch tomorrow?
Mason Greenwood. I think Mason Greenwood's got something about him. Yeah. I'm very excited to see. There's this whole thing going around on social media. The stadium was testing the screen system, as in like the replay screens, and so they flashed a screen showing player of the match Mason Greenwood. So everyone's getting into hysteria about it, but he's the one I would want to watch from United, and Pau Torres, like I said as well. I think if he plays well, he's gonna attract attention. I think he's one of those that could leave the club. I think his minimum fee release clause is below market value, so they'll try and probably end up moving him along, as a lot of those Spanish teams do. They seem to have an endless line of really good players that they sell. If I was United, I wouldn't go for him, but if he plays really well, you never know.
I'm going to go with this could be his last game for the club, so I'm going to go with De Gea. I think it's a bit rogue, but I think he'll pull out a few good saves, and we'll kind of. I think he's done well. If he is to leave, he's done well to play very well in his last few games, to leave United like this, winning on a trophy. Nice way to leave. Big servants club, big legend. But anyway, thanks a lot, Sham. Good as always. Thanks so much for watching, guys. We are the 5 Yard Pass podcast. My name is Suddy. This is Sham. Watch the Europa League final tonight at 8 o'clock. It will be a cracker. United will probably be lifting the trophy. I really hope so. That's it. So, as we always say, keep football simple. And as always,
keep passing, guys. Cheers.